Buenos días, Joel.
Buenos días, Ben.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? Taco.
Bien. What's the middle one? A C. Isn't there like a meh?
Meh.
Like if I'm just like,
¿Estamos bien? ¿Estoy bien?
is it just I'm good? I'm okay.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm okay. And like
I don't know.
muy bien's like I'm very good.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure like
In
Teresa or Diana will like correct us on this one.
What is it? What is it in?
Buenos días, muchachos. Well, good morning.
What is it in like white private school Spanish class? They give you the answer for like when you're I feel like it's not. I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Excelente.
It's not excellent. No excelente.
Yeah. Basura.
No, bien.
Basura.
Okay.
It's basura.
How was
It means garbage.
I'm not asking about your day yesterday again.
Yeah, no.
Joel's Coffee Shop Adventures. That's gonna be Joel's solo podcast.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be because things get crazy whenever I go out for coffee. Apparently.
Yeah. So, but let's start there. So we'll say that we're live. I mean, we're obviously live. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook.
Obviously, we're live.
We were on Facebook. Joel,
I'm pretty sure it's still going.
While I fix it, why don't you talk about our new coffee shop? And we're gonna assume her name is Kim. Kim,
Her
I'm
name
so
is Kim.
sorry.
No, it's Kim.
It's got to be Kim.
It's Kim.
But why don't you tell them about our trip to the new place and that it's so close and everybody should go there and the 2 different coffees they have and all the stuff.
You know, I got asked all these questions on the Instagram the other day because I posted that photo of coffee from D&T. And everyone was like, they do coffee? And I was like, yes. They no longer do food. The kitchen's completely closed. It's just coffee, beer, and wine. What else do you need? You know what I mean? Besides wholesome nutritionist food, you know? Anyways, yeah, folks, so guess who now does coffee? D&T Drive-In, the place you know and love, local dive bar, right off of Cavalcade and was that 45, right in the area. Awesome food, awesome beer. Well, no longer is their food, but they still got the awesome drinks. But now they've added a full-on coffee bar, and they're open right now. I pulled up about 6:50, 6:55. Kim had it opened up, ready to go. Well, I mean, she was still setting up, but she knew I was coming. We told her we were coming. We gave her a visit on Wednesday. She was so nice. She knew all the things about coffee. The business side as well. Things we didn't know about Starbucks. Pretty cool. It's showing that we're live, right? No. Well, look.
Yeah, we really enjoyed talking to Kim. Sorry, no, it's not showing anything. So we're just going to restart that. But Kim was awesome.
Facebook, you're going to get restarted. But if you're on Instagram, you're already logged in. You don't have to worry, folks. But yeah, they have two, I really like how they have 2 cold brew options right off the back. One is a Nitro, which is awesome because the only nearest place that does Nitro that I'm aware of is in the area. For sure the new Starbucks off 610, but I feel like, goodness, Starbucks doesn't even do Nitro. Does Throughgood do Nitro?
Yes.
Throughgood.
Throughgood was the first one besides Starbucks.
Yep. Throughgood would be the first local spot located off of 27th and Shepherd. But now we got one right around the corner that does Nitro, which is awesome. And it is from Cat's Coffee. It's called Café de Ola, OLLA. Nitro. It is sweet. I forgot what the ingredients were, unfortunately. Do you remember what she told you, Ben?
No, man. A sophisticated palate. I remember as soon as she listed off all of the ingredients, I said something along the lines of, I don't have a sophisticated palate. And so,
none of us do.
I'm about to give up on this. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
So, hey, why don't we talk about, real quick, we'll come back to coffee, but I can maintain this conversation. So, the new iPhone came out, right?
Yeah.
And it's like $6,000, right?
Slightly less, but yeah.
So how much truth is there that all of our iPhones are now not working?
It really depends on how old it is. Like
right? No, I don't mean like wear and tear. I mean, God bless America. Well, God.
You know what?
I just mean, like, you seen the memes where?
Like a new iPhone comes out, then mine starts to break.
Then it's like these people like being jittery, and they're like
I
your old iPhone when the new iPhone's released.
I think there's some truth to that.
So like,
But my 6 lasted me all up until now until I decided to break it.
So the car business is built on having parts that wear out because they
Yeah.
need you to come back to the dealer to get this stuff repaired.
Yeah, yeah.
And so why would it be crazy for a technology company to do the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not to mention, just as everything is accessible through the cloud and through the internet, they obviously have access to things that we're not aware of. I mean, that was the whole breach of privacy thing. And so Tesla can update your vehicle while it's in the garage at night. I am sure that Apple can update your phone while it's sitting by your bedside,
If you allow that option, yes.
or if they want to.
Well, I mean, if they really
Don't
wanted
be
to.
naive here.
If they really wanted to, yes. But I haven't updated my iPhone yet. The new update's out.
Well, I wouldn't. I would definitely not do a new update.
Well, mine work. It's good for that one. I got a new phone now.
I just feel like my phone has
After 3 years?
recently especially with now that I'm not using as much, it should be top performing because like I don't use it. It shouldn't be being worn down.
And if your hard drive has enough space too.
But in the last week,
Your hard
I've
drive
had
makes
more
difference.
like Facebook, like that live video. It just took me 4 different times to get it started. Like little stuff like that. And maybe there's nothing, but like, you know what's not crazy? Someone that wants you to pay $6,000 for a phone, making your $1,000 phone not work anymore.
Yeah.
And can we talk about that?
It's not even that. It's not that great either. Like I don't even remember what the updates were like. That's how unimpressed I was. I did like its video and picture capturing capabilities,
Right.
but other than that, it's
Yeah, so I want to talk about the price thing. And like, so we talked about I had the flip phone. I do not want to keep my flip phone. Like the plan was not Ben's going to have a flip phone the rest of his life. Plan was for 4 or 5 weeks, the length of the nutrition challenge, which ends next week.
That's crazy.
You know, I was just going to use it to see if I could decrease my time. And man, the world plotted against me with all the things that have occurred over the last 2 or 3 weeks. The Dr. Ford hearing yesterday. Also, Joe Rogan had a vegan on his podcast, and he debated Chris Kesser, I believe is the doctor's
I
name.
haven't seen that one.
It was yesterday. It was live yesterday. Rob Wolf was live Instagramming it, and every time the vegan would say something ridiculous like saturated fat causes heart disease, Wolf was on him. Because apparently Chris was bringing like research-backed information, and the vegan guy was just like, the things we want to be true, like take care of the animals, don't kill them. It can't be good to eat meat, but like problem is with the emergence of the carnivore diet, obviously we don't have a full understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
So a lot of interesting stuff, but my point is that I didn't want to keep the flip phone. But I tell you what, man, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not getting a $1,500 phone. I'm not getting a $1,500 phone.
No.
And I think what's happening, because you weren't always able to tack the price of your phone on your plan. You know, where you can do like that $1.50 a month for 3 years or whatever it is, and hey, you magically get a $1,000 phone.
Yeah.
So they weren't able to charge you too much because you're in the store as a regular person, like, oh, you don't have $1,000 cash? I guess we can't charge you that much. But now that they have a payment plan, they're like, oh, man, we could charge $3,000.
Yes,
so the price is going to keep going up, you know? And meanwhile, manufacturing is more efficient, technology is more efficient, so it should cost less.
Yeah, but that's not how you make money.
That's fine. That's fine. And they're allowed to charge. I want to be very clear. Free market, they can charge whatever they want. We don't have to buy it. But, like, at what point? It's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's like a bad TV show that society tells you is really good.
Yeah.
At what point do you go, man, this is not good?
Well, people have always said that, but they still get it.
They
still buy it.
Do you think we reach a point where we're just like, you know what? I wasn't going to be an Android guy, but, like, I'm not paying $1,500.
Maybe.
It doesn't make sense.
You're paying for design and some technology.
You're
paying for Apple when you buy an Apple product.
I would bet at the edge of the at the edge of possibility, if I knew how to use my iPhone to create content and to contact aliens and all the things it probably could do, it's worth $1,500.
Yeah.
But for me to keep in touch on Facebook, post some Instagram photos, and check my email, My flip phone has those features, by the way. I just have turned them off because that was the whole point, was to avoid it.
Yeah,
But like my point is my $100 flip phone, and if you get it with a new contract, it's $0. They literally will give it. They might pay you.
Yeah. Take this.
It has the same features, you know. And so then there's plenty in the middle, right? Or maybe that's the thing. There's not actually.
It's your Boost. Go get your Boost phone.
Like, what's between a flip phone and an iPhone?
Boost. Metro PCS.
I don't mean the provider. I mean the phone.
Androids.
Right?
And there's a Chinese manufacturing company that the government doesn't want you to use either. They've surpassed Apple.
Because they think the Chinese government has software on it to track your data.
Yeah, basically.
Which, so what? The American government's tracking our data.
Apparently, yeah.
Like, what are they going to figure out? Like, China is only not attacking the U.S. because they don't know my location.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know what my nuances, my habits are. Like, oh, better not attack. Ben Jose might have a weird habit. No. What are they going to learn from my phone?
Yeah, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson who said that the odds of the government tracking you are like slim to none.
It was the Elon Musk interview.
Well, Neil
they might
said
have both
too.
talked, but because I think Joe Rogan, it's one of his things. Right now, Joe Rogan is on a Spotify is screwing musicians kick. So every musician he brings on, he talks about that. It's written, and I don't mean that kind of. It's very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting conversation. The Steven Tyler interview is a little bit weird, but when they talk about the business,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Man, what is the lead singer of Metallica? That's a really fascinating interview, mainly because he talks about bees for 2 hours.
That was an awesome one.
But when they talk about the music industry,
Can't
it's
believe I forgot
interesting
his fucking name.
because it's too normal.
It is
It's like a
normal.
really normal white guy name.
Super normal name. Yeah.
But on the
That's killing me.
on the data thing, he's really like Elon Musk, that's the technology side. He's really big into like, do you think they're tracking? Like, what do you think? And Elon was like, they don't care what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're looking at porn, the government does not care.
They don't care.
And by the way, who cares if they do?
I don't know.
Like some FBI agents, and by the way, how low on the FBI totem pole would you need to be to have to watch what I look at on the internet?
Hey, everybody, look at this guy's looking at.
Hey, new guy, you know what your job is? Track Ben's internet history.
You got these 10 people to watch. All you're doing is tracking their porn
Yeah,
search.
go ahead and sit there and stare at it.
Yeah,
Like,
just
how do we think this works?
your screen has 10 screens of what everyone's looking at. Just keep an eye out for what they're doing.
What a nightmare. What a nightmare. But yeah, I'm getting to the point. I actually, and we won't go into it here. My dad and my sister's birthday September 16th, so she just turned 30. Happy birthday, Amanda. And my dad's birthday was September 21st. I believe he turned 64, so happy birthday, Dad. So we celebrate together. We were together last Sunday. And
Yeah, birthday.
we went to the house. They also just got their house. They finally were able to move back downstairs. So they got flooded by Harvey. And so over a year. And
That's nuts.
they finally were able to move back downstairs. They had to live upstairs for the last year. The bottom floor was completely gutted, and so they finally have their house back. And so we're kind of celebrating that as well. First time I had seen it, and so we're there. And my sister's husband, Jimmy, and I, we like to get into some deep discussions on things. And my dad will he doesn't play devil's advocate, but my dad, for being. He was very much conservative through my entire life. He's somebody that, like in this last election, he voted for Jill Stein because he couldn't bring himself, like his Christian beliefs. There was no world where it lined up with Donald Trump.
No.
But in his opinion, his beliefs did not line up with the perceived corruption of Hillary Clinton. So he went with Jill Stein. And so like that for him, and that sounds silly. Maybe you don't care, like people don't care, but like. That was a big move for him. Like he's, as far as I know, he's pretty much a straight ticket guy. And the point in bringing this all up is like when Jimmy and I are discussing how to care for people. Jimmy works at Texas Children's. He sees people not be allowed to have medication because insurance won't cover it. He sees the awful things. And so we're talking about, like, we got down to, like, when's the revolution?
Yeah.
I'm not a revolution guy, man. But, like, the iPhone is a great example of that. Like, keep pushing me. I dare you. I dare you. Like, at some point, we're going to realize we're all getting screwed.
Yeah.
And it's time. It is time to say no. And then what we got into discussion was like,
no. I think it's gonna take longer, especially with like influencers and everything like that. Everyone's like, "Oh, I got this new phone." Everyone's like, "Oh, I want that new phone." Like,
Well,
gonna
I,
keep
do
buying-
think I think the uneducated masses.
well, they're fooling us with subscriptions and payment plans.
Well, and that's the other part. You don't even understand how much you're paying.
Yeah,
They're like,
Like-
hey, because you notice they don't put the price.
Yeah.
They're like $2 a month.
Yeah.
For
This
10
much a month.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you break it or you don't make it to your contract, you have to pay it off
Ugh.
before. So by the way, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
And so,
Buy Apple Care, $200 extra.
but it won't cover it if you accidentally drop it. It only covers if it's dropped below 2 feet. Like
some weird shit like that.
there's these where did you drop it? I dropped it outside. Ooh, it's only indoor drops. You
It's
didn't
on grass or concrete?
Yeah, did you drop it on concrete? Ooh, we don't cover that.
No, grass.
Only if it breaks on dirt. Like, that's how they get you there. And so I just think, man, I do think the uneducated masses that are lulled by Logan Paul and stuff, no, revolution's not coming from them. And honestly, I think if they were,
That's how I'm gonna die.
sneezing,
Yes, uncontrollably while driving on the highway.
yeah, you would not be able to drive right now if you were sneezing.
No. That was like
However,
5 seconds of me with my eyes closed.
question,
You know how much distance you cover?
question.
Yes.
How often do you sneeze on your motorcycle?
I remember doing it once and thinking, man, I could die doing this.
But you don't usually do it.
No.
Do you think we are subconsciously aware of when we have the time to sneeze and when we don't?
No.
You ever notice stuff like that doesn't happen at super inconvenient times?
Oh no, it does for me.
No, it doesn't.
I've
You
sneezed.
just said you've been you have
I've
your,
sneezed in class.
you've had your bike for forever,
Oh,
right?
coaching.
There's
Yeah.
no stakes in class. That's not what I mean. Life and death. You're walking a high wire. You're not going to start sneezing.
I think it's worse in a car than on the bike.
Do you sneeze a lot in the car?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong then.
Yes. Like it's like, man, that's why I said I'm gonna die. That's why I said that specific thing.
Well, because
That
my
is so
point is
much in the
we have
car.
control of it. Because if you look at I think the greatest place to look is at the soldiers that guard the tomb of the unknown soldier. They literally are not allowed. They can't stoicism or nothing. Like they cannot wipe their eye. If it's storming, they don't get an umbrella unless somebody else hold. Like they're not allowed to sneeze.
Who are these guys? Who are these guys?
The soldiers that guard the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Huh.
So the soldiers, the men and women that have given their lives that have never been identified. It's
Come on, do it. You've been waiting.
Jack's on the couch, everybody.
He's been waiting to do it this whole time.
You need to read about them because it's absolutely fascinating. They live underneath the tomb, like they live underneath in a facility because they have to be there at all times. They work in shifts.
But where's this tomb?
DC, I believe.
Oh shit.
And basically they are. I mean, but you could also like the close order drill team for the Marine Corps,
Oh, okay.
who's tossing bayonets around and
Mm.
performing. They're not allowed. They're not able to break their character. I'm sorry, that's disrespectful. It's not. I don't mean to disrespect. They're not able to break behavior.
Yeah.
It is break character. Shut up. It is break character. They're not able to. Like they have to be locked in, and you can't start sneezing,
Is that a comment on
like
yours?
stuff like that. And so,
Great.
I'm not saying that we could. That we like can control the sneezes without training. They obviously have been trained in this stuff, but I do think we have more control of it than we think.
Well, usually
Back to the multiverse in our heads.
usually when I'm on the bike, I either have a bandana on or I have fresh air blowing in my face.
Well, that's true.
Who knows what particles are collecting within the filters of my cabin filter in my car?
Yeah.
So I
Mila's
think that's a
birthday is on the
factor,
same
too.
day as my sister's. Happy birthday, Mila.
Happy birthday, Mila!
Mila's in our fitness
Mila's
program. She's
pushing
awesome.
that Greek festival that's happening next weekend. I forget where it's at, but there's a Greek festival coming up, and they're gonna have all the Greek foods.
So I've been to the Greek festival, and it's awesome.
I've never been.
It is awesome. So
Well,
you absolutely should go to the Greek festival.
Next weekend, folks.
Yeah.
She's gonna be cooking. She'll be there.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Awesome.
That's another reason. Her mom's been doing it for like probably a couple decades.
Yeah, the Greek festival here in Houston is fantastic. So that's coming up. Yeah, I don't like the fact that the price is more expensive, and but I also think the flip side is like you also don't have to have an iPhone. So let's move on past that.
Well, I was gonna also bring up how like that's the direction that everything is going in nowadays, so that we could keep feeding the money like subscription-based music.
No, I think you nailed it. I think subscription service, everybody wants that because you're guaranteed cash flow.
It's another good example would be Adobe, like Photoshop and all that. Janai said that back in the day she could buy the software for a few $100. Now it's subscription based only.
Like in perpetuity, like for forever.
Yeah.
And so like you're paying
you're gonna constantly
far more than $100
you're gonna
or a
constantly
couple
give them
$100.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real downer. But I mean, there's pros and cons because also what happens is they update the software and you don't have to buy new software.
Yeah.
So I think, so then there's a line, and there's a line in everything.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, like with the phones too. Like they're creating like more technologically advanced things. So now your phone requires this new chip and this much RAM and this much hard drive space and yada yada yada. And this is all secondhand technology because who is it? The Air Force is like probably like way up here.
Yeah.
Like I forgot who. All shit that we've done in space isn't because of NASA. It's because of the Air Force.
No, right.
NASA just like they had the minds, but the Air Force is what made it happen.
No, the Air Force, especially, I don't know about like during the space program, like when we went to the moon. I don't know how, because the Air Force has not always existed.
Apparently, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson said the Air Force is what made that happen. Everything in space is Air Force. Back because the technological advances of what the Air Force can do.
Yeah, but because now, absolutely. I mean, look, kids, like everybody's like, I'm gonna go to the like if anybody that's thinking about going to the military, the Air Force is it in terms of preparing you for like something in civilian life because they are working with such technology. The problem is you're not smart enough to go to the Air Force. Like they have also incredibly high standards because they know. I mean, I lived in San Antonio for 6 years, and there's 2 Air Force bases there. But Lackland is gigantic, and they do basic training there. So we saw, is it cadets for the Air Force? We saw whatever it is for the Air Force. I apologize. We saw them all the time walking the Riverwalk when they had Liberty and stuff. And the thing is, like, so you're like, oh, I'll go Air Force. But, like, they don't just let anybody enroll because they know it's an opportunity. And side note, once you're in, there's no guarantees because you might be pulling security duty in Afghanistan. So you never know where you're going to end up with that. But the Air Force is absolutely really the leader in the space in terms of the government. But now what you're also seeing is SpaceX, Blue Origin, things like that developing the technology
I
as
thought
well.
SpaceX was going to Mars. Apparently, they're just going to go around the moon and back.
Well, I mean, the ultimate goal is Mars.
The ultimate goal, is Mars. But right now, what they're working on is just going around the moon and back.
Yeah.
And it's going to take 5 hours. That's fast.
See, that's new.
That's quick.
That's faster
That's super quick.
Faster than Apollo 13.
Like it's going to take like 2.5, 3 hours just to get there, and then the way back is the same amount of time.
Is that with the Chinese billionaire?
Yeah. That's
the civilian flight?
You know who do you know who he's taking with him?
Who?
He's going to take a bunch of like artists.
That's cool.
So they could like basically be inspired by what they see, and then create art from it.
That's so cool.
So that's his plan. He's gonna
and stuff like that.
Painters, music artists, all that.
That gives me more. That reminds you of how beautiful humanity can be because like, and I mean this is like American billionaires would have just taken their hookers and their sugar mamas, whatever. No,
cocaine.
Like it's so great that he's affording artists the opportunity to do something they would never be able to do.
Yeah.
And whether it's he knows them personally, he's doing it because he likes them, or because he truly is thinking large scale, like the world needs to see inspiration from space.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Imagine being that band. This song right here was created because we went to space.
Rick and Morty
motivation.
Stuff right there.
Yeah.
No, that's really, really cool. Yeah. The subscription service is interesting because Elon Musk, when they first started producing Teslas, so Tesla, the beauty of Tesla is that like they don't wait for models. If they get an update, if they can make the car better, the next car on the assembly line will be better.
Yeah.
But that sucks because if you bought the car right before it, you don't have that update. And so when they were first coming out and people were having to wait, they kept hearing about updates that were coming. And so they wanted to not let their money be applied to the first cars, but Elon and Tesla needed the first cars sold, but nobody wanted to buy them because people were already leaking or talking about what was coming later. And so it's very fascinating how that works. Okay, so I mean, I think that's as intellectual.
Sip on that nitro. There's no ice in there.
Intellectual. What?
I said sip on that nitro. There's no ice in there.
That means it won't melt. Oh, but you mean it'll get warm?
Yes.
Okay. I would say it won't get watered down. I don't need to hurry. I actually need to start drinking that one. So I know you already mentioned this, but like this stuff, this is the fancy Mexican
The Cafe de
Nitro.
Ola by
And
Cat's Coffee.
I will say I like black coffee, straight up, like black or like black on ice. if you do anything to my, I get upset. Like it takes my joy away.
No.
Adam and I did a podcast yesterday for the book club. You need to go listen to it. It has nothing to do with the book. I mean, theoretically, it's about closing the book, but we talk about a lot of stuff. And one of the things it's really good for everybody. I really want to implore you to listen to
Listen
it,
up, folks.
because we talk about why don't we take time? Like you and I actually talked about this the other day.
About thinking.
Do you have time to think? And if you don't make time for it, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when was the last time you just sat down and doodled, like just wrote down some ideas? And it's like, I know I have these ideas, but I feel like I can't get them out.
Yeah.
And it's like, and Adam ended up saying, I put the excerpt on its own video. People that are able to do it make the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you try to let life allow you to think, it won't let you.
Yeah.
It's not designed, and we don't design it that way.
Yeah.
We design to stay active and stay busy. So a lot of our discussion was around how do we afford ourselves the time to assess?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
and no one's doing that.
we just let a coach go, and so you and I we're yeah, I mean, with weekends, you're working a little bit more. I'm working more. I used to have Wednesday afternoons off, and now I'm coaching. And so, and then Fridays we'll be here more often. And so, like, it's funny because I got to yesterday, and then Adam had his course yesterday. So, like, I had to work yesterday afternoon. And so, normally Thursday's a day off for both of us, like a full day. And so, for me, it's kind of my day to think. It's my day, or, like, this place, like, for those of you that haven't looked in the office, it is a disaster right now. It is so bad. But, like, Thursday's the day where I get to kind of think and, like, start moving stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm working, I don't have that time because you're exhausted. You want the little bit of time you have. You want to sit. You want to eat and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm already thinking for us, like, looking ahead, like, we need to schedule it. Like, we literally need to schedule, hey,
Time to think.
for this 4-hour block,
Time to meditate. Something.
don't screw with me. Like,
Yeah.
don't interrupt. This is, but also it's not just that. It's you actually have to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, Joel, like, I need these 4 hours. Leave me alone. But then if you catch me dicking off, like,
Yeah.
that's not it. Because I think that happens too. Netflix
Yeah.
comes on. And you know what? Let me get ahead of that. I think there is stuff you can watch. Yeah. Did you do that in the mic? Did you lift the mic to your mouth to let everybody hear that one?
I may not have put it down, but no one may have picked it up. I don't, because it came out my nose.
I think you can watch stuff. I think there can be inspiration from technology. I don't think this has to necessarily be a dark meditation. You have to find your own path. But
Yeah.
what I do know won't work for you is like staring at Instagram.
Yeah.
That's not thinking. I think that
Constant intake of information.
like what after our discussion, kind of what have you thought about doing? Or was that what you were at the coffee shop yesterday? Kind of like what were your thoughts? Basically, we had discussed like how you and I both need to make more time to like write ideas down
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So what actions have you taken, or what will you take from that?
So yesterday, you know how I told you I have that back lot. I want to make it mine. I want to put a little house back there.
Right.
I took some time to actually draw in my journal. Like,
Yeah.
I normally wouldn't do that just because there's always something else to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the time to just. I opened up Google Maps. I was using measurements on there. I was just trying to like doodle like something that I want. Like,
Yep.
just I dedicated time to just let my hands do the work, just doodling ideas. Like, all right, how would I want this layout? Just to play with it, because if you never imagine yourself doing it, you're never gonna do it.
Right.
Like, if it's
Certainly.
like, you could talk about it all you want, but if you put no thought into it, it's never going to happen. And I started thinking about that. If I want this to happen, I have to think about that more. Like, it kind of goes back to Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, where he talks about the low information diet.
Yeah.
How he says if you want to perform a task, you have to stop worrying about all these other things.
Yes.
And right now, that's where everyone's at. We're worried about all these other things. We're worried about work. We're worried about TV. We're worried about what Donald Trump's doing. We're worried about the bills that's coming up. We're worried about too much other shit, and we don't dedicate time to think about shit because we don't prioritize it.
Right.
There's no priority in thought. What's a thought going to do for me?
Right.
A thought isn't going to pay for my bills.
Yeah.
So then you never think about things. You know, I tagged you in that cartoon a while back, and it was these odd cartoons. And it's like one character was like, "Hey man, you ever just wonder?" And the other guy was like, "No, I don't ever wonder." Do you remember that?
No.
I'm gonna find it because that was such a good cartoon. The little 60-second cartoon.
But no, so honestly, man, like, I'll be real upfront, even with you. One of the reasons last year I thought I was going fucking mad was because nobody else just sat and thought.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I'd ask somebody, like, hey, what do you think about this? Oh, y'all, everybody. Doesn't matter. Everybody that was on the team at various times, there was no, like, I never do that. I mean, there was no, like, I have an idea. It was all like, oh, let me think about it now. I'm like, you never just stop and think?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. But I guess it's not weird. I guess it's weird to stop and think.
Yeah.
But it's more beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wanted to point out what you're kind of touching on, like, you're getting into, like, yes, you need to turn off the noise. You need to start making a plan.
Yeah.
But I think there's also something else to writing it down or, like, devoting thought.
Yeah.
It can actually
random thought. Yeah.
It can settle your anxiety about the topic or, like, for you, what you are sketching tomorrow is whether we call it a dream or an aspiration, like just a goal or, like,
a goal.
Even if you're not even sure. If you're like, man, it probably won't happen. Like, you know how many times I've designed a tiny house for the back lot here, like, or thought about putting a trailer up front and drawn out how it would look. Yeah. But that's not going to happen. Like, that's not.
You don't need a license to make your own house.
There you go. So
look that up.
Like, but drawing it was still therapeutic.
Yeah.
You get the idea out.
I did like that. I took time to do that.
Even if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But also, it sets you up for it to happen.
Yeah.
So, like, it serves both purposes. And I think we've seen it negatively. Not negatively. That's not fair. What I think of when I think of that are people.
My joints.
I just watched it on Silicon Valley, which I think is a hilarious show. It got weird in the last season. It's not as good as it was in the first 3 or 4. But Jared Dunn, who is he's actually the same actor that plays Gabe in The Office. He's a much more enjoyable character in Silicon Valley. He does this thing where he looks for houses he can't afford. He then finds a house that's cheaper than the house he wants that he can't afford. And then with the difference, he goes on Amazon and sees what he can buy with that money. And it makes him feel like he's accomplished something. And, like, I've heard that before, that people do, like shopping therapy. They'll put a bunch of stuff in their cart online, and it makes them feel like they found stuff they like, but then they won't purchase it.
Huh.
I don't think that's necessarily the healthiest because I think you're still dwelling on.
Yeah, like, I want to buy that. I got to get that.
But I've drawn up vacations. I've drawn up road trips that I've never taken. And guess what? One, I still have the plans if I do get the chance to take it.
Yeah.
But in the moment, it really did make me relax and make me feel similar to getting away.
You made space in your brain.
I'm escaping the noise of the day,
yeah.
and I'm making the space to think of something that I truly enjoy.
And then making space to also think about other things.
So
I think, like, that idea, like, oh, my, like, filling up your head with ideas, like, that's a thing. Like, you will actually fill up your brain, like, not physically, but, like, mentally. You're gonna, like, get full of stuff, and then you just get anxious and nervous and shit.
Absolutely.
And depressed because you can't do anything about it.
Well, so do we want to go into the multiverse thought?
I thought we would. I
Okay.
thought we'd somehow segue into that.
So I don't think we have to go all in on.
All scientific, no.
I think we can start with what you were just touching on, which is the noise. Joel and I were talking a couple nights ago, and we were discussing this was the same conversation. We were talking about the importance of writing stuff down and using a journal to get ideas out. And the exercise I had referred to kind of kick the conversation off was I think it's from Seth Godin, and it's basically like 10 bad ideas a day. So every day you should write 10 ideas down. And you should say, I'm going to write 10 bad ideas down. Because one of the problems with us is we judge our own ideas. So Joel has a thought. And he's like, we should add dog poop picking upping to our business. Because we have athletes who let their dogs poop out back and they don't pick it up. So we should charge for that.
Stop doing that.
What a terrible idea. That would be such a bad business idea. But the point is, okay, maybe actually that kind of sounds like a good idea.
That's not a bad idea.
Okay. We should make dog tutus.
There you go.
Our next business should be dog tutu design.
With the Black Wolf shield on it.
Here's the deal. That's probably a bad idea. But the fact that Joel thinks of it and writes it down and doesn't judge himself for it allows his mind to get into the routine of coming up with ideas that will not be judged.
Mm-hmm.
So then the good stuff's going to come out. The people that come up with good ideas come up with a million bad ideas first.
Yeah.
And Godin said, I say this a lot, if you are not subscribed to Seth Godin's email, just go to Google Seth Godin. It'll come up. and subscribe to the email. It comes out every day, and it's sometimes 3 sentences. It's sometimes 3 paragraphs. Yesterday's was about everybody you've looked up to has failed far more than they've succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, even Oprah, everybody loves Oprah, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Oprah has had shows fail. She's had campaigns fail. She's had programs fail. She's had businesses fail. But nobody thinks of that because she succeeded to such a strong degree where she succeeded.
And all that failure happened in her younger years.
It
now,
positions her.
like people think like, oh, I gotta have it now. I gotta be here. I gotta be in this spot. Everyone else is doing it. Well,
You will not succeed without doing it wrong first.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you have some level of success, you will not do what you can do until you failed or struggled as in failure for a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I got Joel to do, or I'm trying to get him to do, is something I've been able to practice, very fortunate, is just sit down from time to time and just write 10 bad ideas down. And they don't make them bad. But like if dog tutu making comes up, write it down.
So, legit thought by you. Yeah, it has to be a legit thought.
Like, yeah, don't be like, what's the worst idea you can come up with? Although that might have some value too. Because the idea is that you're exercising your idea muscle. And just like the muscles in the gym, okay, just like willpower needs to be trained, idea creation has to be trained.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is, somewhere in those lists, a good one's there. And then somewhere in the list farther down the line, a great one's there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you never get accustomed to writing the ideas down, and secondly, what's happening is in not judging your ideas. I cannot express how important that is.
I wish we had a good example of like a good idea that came from a bad one.
I mean, everything we've done comes from a list of bad ideas. Literally everything we've implemented. The book club is in about 17 different journals. It's been written down for years for me, and we finally were able to execute on it.
But that wasn't a bad idea.
No,
I mean, like a bad idea that blossomed a good idea.
But the book club, for all you know, could have come from my desire to have a dinner club,
Maybe.
which wouldn't have worked.
Yeah,
You know,
a dinner club.
like I still think we should have a once a month like professional mixer where people with professional jobs come together and they get to meet with each other and network so that maybe their jobs can connect to each other.
Yeah.
And you do that in the private room at El Tiempo every quarter, every month, something like that. So there.
Yeah.
We can't do that right now.
Oh,
So then we got into the conversation about why it's important to put it down.
yeah.
And we talked about the noise in the head. So then we talked about what is that noise exactly, okay? Because here's what I think. I think you have a million voices in your head.
Mhm.
Maybe infinite voices in our head.
Yeah.
You want to get some
Yeah.
infinities are larger than other infinities.
Yeah.
The largest infinity is the number of voices in your head, okay?
Okay.
There's a bajillion of them, okay? And so what if each of those voices is a different path you could take off the interpretation of the action you just took?
That would be awesome.
I think it is. I think it's one voice is the, I can't believe you just did that. I think
Yeah.
one voice is that was the greatest idea on earth.
Mhm.
And I think every voice in between is the variation on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And then it even goes farther of like, well, now that you did that, you should do this. And so the good voice is going now, option A, option B, and then there's an option A, and it's just this infinite forking all the way out.
Yeah.
And so the problem with that is, no matter, we're not getting multiverse yet.
Yeah.
The problem is you then get clouded.
Mm-hmm.
Because you start to pay attention to all these different things. And you already touched on that from an external perspective.
Yeah.
I cannot listen to what Donald Trump is saying. I cannot listen to what the left is saying about what Donald Trump is saying. I cannot listen to what someone is saying about their opinion about The Bachelor last night. I cannot listen to someone's opinion about the opposite of The Bachelor. Like,
Yeah.
I can't be plugged into that and still have peace of mind to forge through the wilderness to get to where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the mind, we got to shut it off too.
Yeah.
But it's almost impossible without severe training and meditation, stoicism, Zen, whatever we want to talk about. Your best hope is to write it down.
Write it
Or,
down.
and I've said this for a while, say it out loud. I think giving voice to it separates it from the noise.
Sometimes I feel like the best conversations I've had are to myself.
Absolutely. I guarantee they are. I guarantee you talking to yourself is more productive than you talking to anybody else. At least over a broad time
Yeah.
spectrum.
Not every time.
There could be a most impactful conversation was with somebody. I'd hope that's the case.
Yeah.
But no, man, I
definitely.
think when you say it out loud, it pulls it from the noise.
Mm-hmm.
It's like selecting the best of them all.
Yeah.
But until you say it out loud or write it down, They're all the same.
Because also, if you keep it inside and you're like, oh, and you think to yourself, oh, that was a good idea, you end up forgetting it. And you're like,
Absolutely.
what was that idea? Fuck.
Chase Nall, who some of you have had the pleasure of meeting, Chase occasionally is passing through on these comments. When I was at District H, I used to write down I would coach all the 5 and 6 a.m.s. And so I'd get all my ideas then because that's when I was the most awake. And so the whiteboard would have the workout, it would have the list of names for the class, and then it would just be covered in everything I was thinking about that day. And he was like, man, you need to go get a moleskin notebook, the little pocket-sized one, keep it in your back pocket, and that way every time an idea comes up, you pull it out, you write it down, you put it back. And I now have 1,000 moleskin notebooks.
It's dope.
It's so valuable. And now you know what I can do? I can go back and look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Robert Rodriguez, you referenced that earlier. Robert Rodriguez on Tim Ferriss.
Mm-hmm.
He's the film director. He's an amazing, like his story's amazing. He made the movie on like $1,000 budget. His first one, the Desperado.
Something like that. Was it Desperado? No.
That was Antonio Banderas one.
That was out. That was before that. I forgot what the movie was. But yeah, he made a super duper cheap, dirt cheap.
His book.
What the hell am I doing?
His book is that documents that filmmaking is called Rebel Without a Crew.
There you go. That's
And it's a fascinating book. He wrote the movie and got the money for the movie by doing a medical study. If I remember correctly, he was in a medical facility for a month or 2 months or something like that.
Goodness.
Where they controlled what you ate, controlled everything, and he got paid for that. And that's what he got his money from.
I gotta re-listen to that one.
Yeah, I think
That was a good one.
Because at the end of it, he's like the billboard one. He says something along like "be useful," and that's always resonated. And then Elon Musk said that too. Like, I think we need to be more useful. Like, we need to be useful to each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I wish there was a way to like thin the herd based on use.
Damn.
Like, not on belief, not on anything, but like, okay, are you useful?
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't large scale, small scale, because like. Genuinely, I believe there are people that are not being useful to anybody.
Yeah.
You can eat shit and die. Like, and it's not you're not in shape. It's not Aryan rate. Like, we're not talking about any. We're literally talking. Are you serving your fellow man in any capacity?
Are you gonna help us advance?
I don't care
way?
if you're bedridden. There's still ways you can help people. Like, you can contribute. So it's nothing more. It's literally desire.
Yeah.
I think we should be able to thin the herd based on desire.
Mm-hmm.
Are you useful? No. Either go to an island or we get to let you.
That's what puts us at the top of our
us.
food chain is our brains, our ability to think, and put stuff into practice.
Put us past tense.
Well, yeah.
Okay, because there are plenty of people that would not be at the top of the food chain.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, those are the people that you're saying, like,
right
in the herd. Like,
but I want to make sure, I want to emphasize before somebody gets really upset. Like, it's not physical. Like, because in the wilderness it was physical.
Yeah.
Like, Joel, you're useful. I don't care how dumb you are.
Yeah.
Like, you can outrun a saber tooth or help me kill it. Like,
damn, that'd be dope.
yeah. And now intellect is just as important.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just coming down to like sending positive messages, like, hey, you stuck in bed? Tell people they're awesome.
Yeah.
That shit's useful right there.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people that are negative, they're trolling, and they're not healthy, and they would not be able to carry a weapon in a zombie apocalypse.
That's so nuts.
Like, they're literally worthless. Literally worthless. You ought to be gone. You know? We want to talk about the multiverse? We have this theory. And a lot of y'all aren't going to be aware of this, and that's fine. And if you want to, like, dumb it down to Rick and Morty, not dumb it down because I think it was actually very smart, but, like, put it down on a cartoon. Rick and Morty, the multiverse, like, Morty dies in one episode, so Rick goes to another universe where Morty lives, and he grabs that Morty and brings him back.
They both died.
But on different episodes, they do different things. There's one
okay.
where, like, literally he buries Morty and he goes and grabs another one.
That was the same episode, wasn't it?
I think there's two different ones.
Oh.
Because he consciously does it. So if he can't be dead.
I forgot how it went. Oh,
I think there's one where they ruin the world and they transport.
There's that one.
They
where
transport
they
to a universe where they
both
died.
Yeah.
And that's why they're buried in the backyard.
Yeah. What was the other one?
He kills Morty, or Morty dies.
Yeah, I remember there's something like that.
And so he goes to one where there's a Morty with no Rick.
Yeah.
And he grabs him. And then they have the one where, oh my, like there's that show.
It's a well-written show, folks.
Anyways, so that multiverse idea, go if you don't want to take it from a cartoon. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Joe Rogan podcast, or any
anything he's on.
He says it exists. He says there are infinite possibilities, infinite universes. and
And some bigger than the others. What?
and
What does that mean?
there's a you in each of them, and there's you and not each of them, because there's an infinite. There's ones where there's a million. There's infinite ones where Joel exists and I do not. There's infinite ones where we exist. There's infinite ones where we exist and we never meet. There's infinite ones where I exist and he doesn't exist. Like there's infinite.
And this has happened over and over and over again.
Over
this
and
very,
over.
very, very moment.
Nothing is new.
You listening to us, you watching us has happened over and over and over again.
What do you think deja vu is?
Yeah.
Tapping into the multiverse and you don't even realize it.
Yep.
I've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that works? Glitch in the matrix.
Yes.
See? And so, what if we postulated, since we're as smart as Tyson, we're not. Please don't think that.
Yeah, no, we're not.
What if we have access to that multidimensional aspect through our brains?
I think I forgot who I was talking to. Someone else. I was talking to someone else about this, but I think that's what that movie Lucy was.
I didn't see it.
Remember Lucy? With what's her name? I forget her name.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Where she's playing an Asian woman. And
No, she's not Asian. She's not playing an Asian.
Oh,
woman.
that was the anime one she did.
Yeah, that's Ghost in the Shell.
Okay.
But basically, like we only use 10% of our brain. If you unlock the other 90%,
The
you could
female
do
version of Limitless.
pretty much, yeah.
Without a pill though, like she
Yeah.
just did it.
No, they put the drugs in her system,
Okay.
and it was way too much drugs.
So
and
the
just,
female version of Limitless.
yeah, kind of sort of.
Yeah.
I said Limitless is more intellect. He just was smarter, where she could like.
Oh, she had like powers like we talked about.
Yeah, powers. Like,
Okay,
she was able to tap into things. She could see, like, understand different languages. Like, oh, it was intense. Like, at the end of the movie, she disappears because she became one with the universe, which we are all one with the universe, folks.
Yeah. No. Yes. I think we've already talked about that. I think that if we were able to harness it, look, the Bible says that faith can move mountains, and then the retort is like, well, nobody's moved a mountain. I don't think it has anything to do with the Bible. I think humans could move mountains if they access that. I just don't think it's possible as we know it right now. I think that honestly, Asian philosophy is probably the closest to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Dalai Lama or someone like in that vein, like Tibetan monks, are probably
They're trying to unlock it.
like they're the ones actually daily working on accessing that because they are so focused on simply accessing the mind and the powers of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't have the noise.
Yeah, that's why they're in the mountains.
They're controlling the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what if Tibetan monks, what if they're bro, what if, because they would never tell us.
They wouldn't.
What if they have accessed the multiverse through their minds and it's basically virtual reality?
Oh, shit.
What if they're living as a CEO tycoon in New York as a Tibetan monk in Tibet, and then the next day they wake up and like, I want to save whales, and so then they go like Greenpeace.
Fuck.
Like, what if they are VR already? Because they're able to access that.
Maybe.
What if VR is just a cheat code to the multiverse?
It could be. It's the easy way to the multiverse.
I mean, look, man, I've always said, like, you want to really dumb it down? If I'm in a bad mood and I stand at the front of a 10,000 square foot building, Joel can feel it in the back room. Like, how is that? How is that? Like, you talk about, like, twins being able to communicate for each other.
Yeah.
Okay, we always just write that off as like, oh, yeah, they're twins, obviously. They're not connected.
Yeah.
There's no wire running between them.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe, man. That's energy.
Mm-hmm.
You live with someone long enough, you finish sentences, stuff like that. Like, you know what they're going to say before they say it.
Yeah.
That's energy. Like, we just says, oh, yeah, that's duh. What?
No.
It's something, man.
Yeah. Shit. Hope we figure it out sooner than later.
Well, you know what it's not? It's not the pursuit of money.
It's not.
It's not the pursuit of popularity.
Nope, it's not. It's
It's
not
not
any
watching
of
the Kardashians.
All that stuff's getting in the way.
It's not watching anything. To not knock the people watching Kardashians.
Back to your monk.
Sorry,
back
Teresa.
to the monk thing. Maybe they already know that. They don't want anyone else to know that. So like, make them still think it's all about the money and the popularity.
I actually think they don't believe we would believe them.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's hopeless. There's movies like that.
It's
where
like if you saw an alien, would you actually tell anyone you saw an alien, or would you keep it to yourself because you know no one would believe you?
no, you would tell people.
Would you?
That's different because that's already been breach. I think if you saw a ghost, I think you would be hesitant to tell people.
I think the alien more than the ghost, because I feel like everyone's seen a ghost. The alien thing is like, oh, you're crazy.
I would say you're crazy if you saw.
That was the government.
I would tell you a ghost is crazy.
I don't know. Maybe it goes both ways.
I would bet if you told me if you knew something was going to happen before it happened, I would tell you you're crazy. I'd be like, no, you didn't.
And then if it happened,
Yeah, if they like something just took place, you're like, yeah, I actually knew that was going to happen. I'd be like, shut up.
you didn't know that was gonna happen.
But I bet that's possible.
Maybe.
I think. Did I tell you? Were you the one I was speaking to, or Adam? So I was speaking to someone, and I said, I think psychics are real.
Yeah, that was me.
That
was that night we were
I
up to,
don't
like,
think they're real anymore.
9:50.
I don't think they're real anymore. I don't think the trailer on the side of Studewood has a real psychic in it. But I would imagine that like in the ancient times when people really tapped into this stuff, I could absolutely believe that energy allowed for access to things that we do not now understand.
Well, it's like when they talk about the pyramids and stuff. Like, how the hell did they do that without the technologies that we have now?
So what about this one? What about this one?
I can't build a fucking pyramid.
What about this one? What about this one? There was a species before us. The Earth got wiped out, and then it restarted.
I believe that.
And
I
so
definitely believe that.
those pyramids existed long before we ever walked the Earth.
I believe that. Man, I forgot what the math was on it. Like those pyramids and the Sphinx are like, they're supposed to be so old, like super old. Like, it doesn't make sense how old they are.
But they were supposed to be built by the slave Jewish people under the Egyptian rule.
Yeah.
And the amount of time that the Bible devotes to it is not nearly enough for a man to carry stones over logs. That was their wheels.
Yeah.
Like,
and go up.
yeah.
And these are some big.
But a
ass
couple
stones.
100 years of slavery and it happened. No.
They're working hard.
Not.
Some hard workers.
And they had to be well fed.
Well,
Like, they would have had to been well taken care of to be able to do that.
Yeah, there's no way they
Like,
were.
look at how much you lift weight. Like, you have to be cared for. And
Yeah,
they were not cared for.
With all the weight I move, I don't even think I could. It would take a bunch of me's.
Yeah. Yeah, they would have had to be the most physically fit people
Yeah.
to walk this earth while enslaved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a stretch.
Hieroglyphs and whatnot.
So, something happened.
Something did.
It's weird, man, because it's like all these conspiracies. So now, like, is a conspiracy theorist a smart person now? Because I still think they're nuts. But, like, are they right? And that's what I don't want to happen is, like, the crazy guy turned out to be right.
Well, conspiracy theorist is just someone who thinks that there's just a different answer.
So, yeah, so they just know it's not right. They know
Yeah.
the current explanation doesn't make sense, but it doesn't mean they actually have an understanding of
Yeah.
what actually took place.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So they, like, took a swing in the dark, and they landed a partial punch.
Yeah. Basically, damn it. I wish I could recall what was said about a conspiracy theorist. It was like there has to be, in order for a conspiracy theorist to like, in order for there to be a conspiracy, there has to be some information. Oh man, I'm a butcher it. I'm gonna have to look it back up and bring this topic back up.
So what we basically have covered here is the fact that we, in all likelihood, are only self-limited as to the powers we have access to.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, you think about the most powerful thing in your life, it's not money. Like, it's you staring yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that on podcast yesterday as well.
It's like some people could be happy with $30,000 a year. Others are happy with $100,000 a year.
Yeah, someone on an interview the other day was like, there's people in mud huts smiling.
That was a.
Like, mud huts smiling.
I heard it.
And that's another thing we dismiss. Like, just so you're aware, if you've never been evicted and you've never slept on the floor, it ain't easy. Like, don't be like, yeah, they live in a mud hut. They don't know better. Like, if you just took one step down from your current comfort, you would be miserable.
I think that's Joe Rogan when he's interviewing Vinny Paz.
I think you're right.
Did you listen to that?
Yeah.
You finished it?
I did not finish it.
I started
I'm an hour in, 45 minutes in.
I didn't get that far. It was that one though.
Who is he?
He's a rapper.
Okay.
He's a lyricist. I forgot what his group is called, but he's a rapper. He raps.
So, no, I mean, it just, I think we have all the evidence that this life is about energy.
Like, well, they're happy because they have no other point of reference. Like, that's life. They're living good. Like, that's how you live. For those that are living in mud huts, like, there's no other point of reference for them to base their happiness off of. They
Sure,
have each
but,
other.
like,
They're living like us. We have
hunger,
so many different points of reference.
but hunger is still hunger, and cold is still cold, and hot is still hot, and misery is still misery.
But are they going through those things in
They're
those
living
areas?
in a mud hut. They better be. Like, what? They don't have air conditioning. They don't have heat. They don't have.
Well, it's like living in California. They don't got all the seasons.
So you're saying
Like
that
maybe like where they're living, it's always that climate.
bro, if they're in a perfect climate, then the white people came and took it from them.
Well, California.
There ain't no way. Yeah,
California.
You see mud huts in California?
No.
No, they would have been colonized. If they had ideal climate, they would have been colonized already.
Mhm.
I do think I don't mean to discount the framework. I do think, like, if you don't know what else is out there, if you don't get used to living on $1 million, then you don't have then it's less difficult living on 30,000. You know, but I think that's another example. Like, I'm sorry, man, but life making less than $30,000 is not easy.
No.
No matter what, I don't care.
No.
Like, oh well, you've never made 100,000, so you don't know. I know that my bills suck. I know that not paying rent sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I know that groceries being $100 a week sucks. I know that gas prices going up sucks. You know, like, I'm very aware of that.
And things are just getting more and more expensive.
And so, I don't know, man. Like, I think frame of reference plays a role in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think and maybe it's this. Frame of reference then doesn't pull your mind away from being centered on the energy conversation.
Yeah.
Am I putting good energy in or out? Am I taking good energy in?
Mm-hmm.
Because it ultimately comes down to that.
Yeah.
Good begets good. Bad begets bad.
Yeah.
You're in a bad spot and you don't try to be good, then you're going to have a real bad day, and so is everybody around you.
Yeah.
I've lived that life for a very long time. But even when I'm in a bad mood, if I can make light of it and try to make the best of it, myself and those around me will have a better day.
Yes.
It's just an energy thing.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
Energy's contagious.
And I think there's so much. I think even saying that energy's contagious, I think we overlook that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh yeah, that's a cool thing to say.
Yeah.
But like, that's real, man.
No,
I like the twin thing. We're just like, oh yeah, twins know each other from around the world. How? That means there's something here.
There's a connection.
That
somehow.
means there's telepathic communication to some degree.
That's crazy.
They just know. We wouldn't accept that explanation in something that simple in any other explanation.
Like, okay, what if, back to like the whole different species thing. What if there was a different species where that was a thing, where we were able to do that? That species got wiped out. We're trying to get back to that, and that's where technology comes back into play. Our telepathic ability is the phone.
I think
My ability to communicate with you.
I think history repeats itself. I think that we will continue to evolve. I think we will get to the point where, whether it's as a cyborg, as Elon Musk talks about, or the monks finally teach us how to tap into each other, I think we will reach the point where we can build the pyramids again, and then whatever catastrophe befalls us because we learn to weaponize robotics, we then wipe ourselves out, and it starts over.
Yeah. Well, it's like what we're trying to do with robots. We're trying to create another human.
Right.
We're trying to make us. We are the most sophisticated thing on the earth.
So,
kind of, sort of.
So,
like, how do we work?
You know what could have built the pyramids? Robots.
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
They would have found the most efficient way, found the most efficient material. They would have found the most efficient processes, and they would have had the musculature, because it's all mechanical, to do it.
And they're like, how do we get this? How do we make this? How do we create this? How do we make this out of organic materials? What we are.
So, the thing that perplexes me is, like, would you consider artificial intelligence in the form of some sort of cyborg a continuation of our evolution?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's what we think it's going to be.
Silicon Valley. I watched an episode the other day, and it's all about startups and stuff. And this guy had just built. Have you seen the I hesitate to say, but female robot? Like, she actually has a face, and like she can interact.
Ugh, it's scary, but yeah.
Yeah, so in this, they're using that as an example, and like he built her in this story, he built her by herself. He received a lot of funding, millions of dollars of funding, and he goes, I built her so I can do whatever I want to her, and everybody in the room goes, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I make a box and I break the box, nobody's mad. If I whittle this wood and snap it in half, it became a thing.
Yeah.
You gave it life. Westworld, we talked about that. That whole show is about you gave life to something.
Yeah.
You can't treat it that way. And so, I don't know, man. I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I would say it is our continued evolution.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously not our organism, but then again, what about like a cochlear, like an implant into our brain?
Mm-hmm. Well, shit. I mean, the phone's now on my wrist.
No, I mean that's Elon talked about that. He
Phone's
goes,
now
"We
on
are
my wrist.
already cyborgs.
Yeah.
We are already cyborgs," and he said, "I'm working on getting that into your brain,
Yeah.
and then it's gonna be game on."
The phones went from bigger to smaller to smaller to smaller. Like they're less and less invasive on your person. Like,
Yeah.
Right there. What's next?
And I
This
mean,
is gonna
Google
better.
Glass was already a foray into this because you were supposed to be able to access that.
Yeah.
It was just too soon, and it didn't quite.
Yeah.
We
Too
didn't-
soon, too weird.
Society didn't want to wear it, which
Yeah.
is a real like, hey, you could be a cyborg. I don't want to look like that.
Yeah.
That seems weird.
Then that's going to become a contact.
And then it also was not efficient yet, and
That
now we're
contact's
talking
gonna
about
become an
contacts.
implant.
And so that's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. And you know, what's the whole thing about the barcode? Like people that tattoo barcodes on them. That's like that's not a good thing.
Well, there's some movies where barcodes, like there was
That's like
the Hitman, they all
Yeah.
had barcodes
mhm.
because they were just numbers.
Yeah,
So I don't know exactly about the tattoo, like if there was a real reason for it.
yeah. But isn't there like some sort of religious point of view on that?
I hope not.
I think there is.
Okay.
I think there's some sort of like, and it's not a good thing.
Tune in next week for our barcode conversation.
We're gonna do some research.
Yeah. Interesting.
But like, what if that's gonna be part of it? Like, we're gonna have barcodes on us. That's how we're gonna get updates and whatnot and shit. Like, you
well,
scan
Jimmy,
that.
my brother-in-law was talking about how because of so much identity theft and fingerprints can be copied, eyes can be copied. He said someone had told him he thinks that like everything now is just gonna have a little tray you spit into because your saliva can't be copied. So you spit and it reads it and goes, yeah, you're Ben. You have this much money. You can pay for this.
Goodness gracious.
Because like, why haven't we done that yet? Like, why do I have to carry a freaking card around?
Sure.
We ought to be able to scan an implant or something,
Yeah.
and it just takes it.
Or like a secret handshake.
Secret handshake.
There's gonna be a mechanical fist popping out of like a machine, and you gotta like fist bump, tap, clap, clap, wiggle the fingers, go rocket power, wiggity wiggity wiggity.
Speaking of secret handshake, so if you don't know, we'll wrap this up. We're at an hour right now. I decided yesterday, I watched Hot Ones. So Joel introduced me to the show Hot Ones, which is where the guy sits down with a celebrity of some sort, and they go from low on. Do you remember the spectrum?
Scoville units. How
How
spice
hot,
is
yeah.
measured.
And so go from low all the way to hot over like 12 wings,
Just like 10, I think.
10 wings. And so like they start and they ask questions after every wing. And so like the
Yeah.
first three, and what's funny is like the three in a row I watched, all three, Michael B. Jordan said it, the guy from Modern Family said it, and
That's a new one, isn't
the
it?
guy from Silicon Valley said it. And they go, at about three, they go, you're setting me up, aren't you?
Yeah.
They're like, I see. You want me to be cocky right now. I just had three and it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I know it's a setup.
It's gonna get
And
it gets
one
worse.
of them was like, is this where people go, I'm going to make it all the way?
Uh-huh.
And the guy was like, people have said that.
yeah.
But on Hot Ones, I decided Michael B. Jordan is Joel's twin. So go check that
I
out.
don't know about that one, folks, but I'll take it.
Yeah. But the reason I bring that up is the secret handshake. He got his secret handshake into NBA 2K.
Nice.
So it's in NBA 2K. He said the only people that care are people in Jersey because that's where he grew up.
yeah.
But his secret handshake's in. I think Michael B. Jordan's awesome.
Well,
Okay.
he said he had to live that role of Killmonger.
6
I
months.
didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I caught that part where he said for like 6 months he had to like become Killmonger and like keep to himself and try to like
Yeah, he said
embrace that
Killmonger
role.
didn't have any family, so he pretty much kept to himself. And he said it was interesting.
Yeah,
But he did say he didn't snap on any civilians, so he wasn't mean to anybody.
yeah, that's good.
Okay, so we got the book club potluck this Saturday. Nutrition Challenges ends next week. There's no first Saturday event this month. We do not have the staff. It'll be just Joel and I next Saturday. So
Mhm.
please do not invite all your friends. Let's see. Battle Buddies coming up October 20th.
Goodness.
Volunteer and compete. And then aside from that,
Speaking of volunteer and compete, should we announce I think we should announce the so far plans for competitions coming up.
Okay. Energy Games.
Energy Games, November
17th?
17th, yes.
November 17th. So far, we have Joelle, Louisa, Lulu, Angie, and Adam signed up as a team, Black Wolf Power Ponies. Tank is signed up to compete men's scaled. That's who signed up there for sure. Y'all need to sign up for that. It's a great event.
It's fun, folks. It's in the River Oaks location.
And it's something you can all do. In the description, they'll settle your worry about what you are and are not able to do. Chris and I, the plan right now is hammer and chisel, although we just discussed today maybe hopping into Energy Games instead.
Yeah.
Okay. And then sign up for that. And then the Annihilation Games are December 1st.
Yes.
And I want to get some teams and individuals. I think you should do individual. Get some teams and individuals signed up for that. So we are going to get a little competition. Why compete? Because, one, it gives you a reason to train each day.
Yeah.
And two, it's fun, man. It's a lot healthier way to spend your Saturday.
And to put yourself out there, too, you know?
Yeah, and you also get to meet awesome people.
Yes.
Like, you want to play the game of, like, I don't know where to meet people, so I just go to the bar and drink. Go to a competition, man. There are a million fit people that want to be around other people that enjoy working out and just want to have positive attitudes and celebrate even mediocre weightlifting. Like, competitions are not the games, man. It's not a bunch of people snatching body weight. It's a bunch of people that actually don't even know how to snatch. It's just fun. It's just fun, okay?
The competitions I've been to, and I was like, whoa, what's going on there? Like, y'all guys.
And, oh, yeah, you guys move better than they do, too. So relax
y'all move
about
so well. Y'all need to go to more competitions and show off your skills. Like, it's nuts.
So get signed up. If you want to talk to us about who you should work out with or what's right for you, we will help you with that. All right. That ends it for today. Thank you for watching. This is the 21st episode of Coffee and Tacos.
Yeah.
We will be back next Friday.
I wonder what episode 100 is going to be like.
We'll see.
We shall see, folks.
And the multiverse is already taking place.
That is very true. And we dropped the mic on that one. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Catch y'all later. You have an awesome day.